Okay, welcome to module 4 of positive behaviour. At the end of this module, you'll be able to analyse active listening and conflict resolution strategies, recognise the importance of observation techniques, documentation and record keeping, and identify strategies for self-care and stress management. We'll find out how to support children to learn to regulate their emotions and demonstrate behaviours which are seen to be positive through practitioners ensuring they use effective active listening techniques and by teaching children conflict resolution strategies. We will also demonstrate how observation and record keeping are useful tools that give us insight into root causes and triggers of certain behaviours, which will help us to address the reasons for the behaviour rather than simply react to the behaviour itself. Finally, we will examine strategies for self-care and stress management and identify how this plays a role in promoting positive behaviour in children. So the first part section we're going to cover is challenging behaviour. At the beginning of the course, we considered behaviours which were thought to be positive and those that were considered challenging. We thought about our personal responses to children's behaviours and how this is based on our own experiences and emotional response to what children do or say. It's worth noting that all behaviours are simply part of a child's development and as such are just behaviour. These behaviours often diminish as children grow and develop more sophisticated communication skills and emotional intelligence. Viewing all behaviour as a form of communication can be a powerful perspective in understanding and addressing children's needs. Some of those behaviours present as more challenging than others because of our responses to them. However, by recognising behaviour as a signal of unexpressed emotions or a need for attention, we can delve deeper into understanding the underlying causes and respond with empathy and support. So if you remember at the start of on the first module, we were discussing about how the reasons that we see changes in behaviour in those children. And this is a really key perspective, remembering that behaviour is a form of communication will empower you to be able to support that child more effectively. The language that you and your staff team use to think and talk about behaviour can impact how you perceive different behaviours and how you support children with behaviour development. Jen Foster poses the following alternatives to support practitioners to think and act positively to the behaviours. So instead of saying behaviour management, we would then say behaviour support, because obviously it gives the idea that we're nurturing that child's behaviour by scaffolding their learning to in order to support them to see the desired behaviour. Whereas if you say behaviour management, it's more of a dictatorship and it's less about the child and more about the adult. So instead of challenging behaviour, we can say distressed behaviour. I really like this one because to me, distressed behaviour explains the emotion rather than giving the child a label as a challenging child. So the type of behaviour comes from deep hurt, frustration, and being overwhelmed. It's a child's cry for help, and we must respond with kindness and support through co-regulation. And instead of attention seeking, this is nice. We'll change that to connection seeking. So the child is seeking attention because they're craving a specific connection with you or your peers or within their learning. So instead of attention seeking, it would be connection seeking. Instead of challenging behavior, we can talk about distressed behavior. And then instead of behavior management, it will be behavior support. Does anyone have any ideas as to why this is important? If anyone wants to just take their mic off, not you, Leon. Write it down. For example, if you were in the room and you were consistently saying things like, oh, that's just how Tommy behaves. Oh, oh, Tommy's kicking. That's just what Tommy does. What effect do we think that that's going to have on that child, rather than stepping in and giving the supportive input that that child needs? What effect do you think it might have?
It's going to have a negative effect on the child. They're going to be aware of the negative things it's saying, and they're going to feel singled out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it is definitely, thank you, Mercy. Thank you. Why'd your name go out of my head? And it's the same name as me. Thanks, Mel. It is. And also, if you think about yourself as an adult and you're in an environment and actually you're trying your best to achieve what it is you've been asked to achieve that day, and you get somebody who's walking by and they're like, oh, that again. That, imagine how that feels as an adult. Now put yourself in that child's shoes and imagine how that is going to feel to a child whose brain hasn't fully developed yet, and they don't have the capacity to compartmentalize other people's opinions. So having to think about the language that we use to discuss children's behavior within the setting, just in the chat box, just note down any terminology that encourages behavior to be seen as a problem, and think about how you can change them to reflect what is actually happening for the child. If you'd rather take your mic off and just quickly speak, you can also do that. I know it's late, guys, but it's not sleep time yet. Visa, did you want to share something?
Sorry, I was helping out Alex for a minute. It's a little bit like what the first two comments are. It's just like, oh, such and such is being such and such.
Yeah.
It's that pattern. It's just like you said. It's just that they're always like that, or that's what they do, or. But it's just like even naming terminologies and things like that. It's not kind and it's not nice, and it just it's just not on. Don't like it.
No, I agree. Thanks, Mel. So let's look at sharing and identifying strategies to support children to manage this skill. The developmental stage of learning to share can be complex and often takes time to embed. Having positive role models that support this concept is important, as well as supporting children to take turns. Children often understand the concept of taking turns sooner than sharing. They can't fully understand sharing until they're around 7 years old. Even as adults, we may still find this difficult. I think we spoke about this last time as well. Remembering that children's communication and social emotional skills are still developing, and so practitioners should be prepared to give time and effort to supporting children with this, as for any other developmental area. Children whose emotional feelings are cherished and respected, even their angry outbursts, shall live more happily than those whose early passions are denied. So think about your mobile phone. If you're in the middle of sending a text message and it says your colleague snatched it from you, but a lot of you are parents and you all know how it feels. You're in the middle of sending a text message and all of a sudden your child's like, oh, can I just borrow your phone? There's something I just need to watch on YouTube. Think about how it makes you feel. I would like to know why this is not loading that. And then you can jot some ideas down for me, please. Yeah, using sound timers can definitely help. Maz, just jump off, darling. Go and look after your mum.
I would say it's not nice to share if someone is in the middle of something, but they also need to learn how to wait.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, we often say to children, oh, you have to share, but actually they don't. It's okay for for again to learn that turn taking, to actually say, well, I'm going to use this for 5 minutes. As Melissa said, you might use a sand timer to support. Was it Melissa that said that? Mercy, sorry, said you might use a sand timer to help support that. But yeah, it doesn't feel nice for you to say, well, actually I want this thing now, so you have to stop. And actually it's quite a selfish expectation, isn't it? So you might be surprised, you might be shocked, cross, angry, worried, what are they going to do, sad, and fearful. Now imagine all of those emotions that you're feeling because someone's just taken this dinosaur off of you for the fifth time today. No communication, frustration, going to be at a high level, turn taking, and learning the concept of patience. Thank you so much. Now imagine that you're a child in your setting who's playing with a toy. When it's snatched away by another child, how would you feel? Again, we've just answered all of these things. Empathizing with the child's situation will help you to support them. If you didn't witness a situation between two children, but only see and hear the outcome, for example, children shouting, pushing, and screaming, then it's vital that you listen to what the children involved are telling you. So I think when we're in such a busy environment, it's very easy for us to go, oh no, it's fine, just do. But actually, taking that moment to support those children, and then again taking turns, ask each child to explain their view, will help to support their learning. So identify the key issue and hold it for the children while supporting them to regulate their emotions. So you might return the toy to the child who had it first and tell the second child not to snatch, but that response doesn't acknowledge the emotions or the behaviors. Therefore, they don't get the opportunity to reflect or even understand what was trying to be communicated. Therefore, they wouldn't be able to learn how to resolve conflicts. You might also hold the toy, sorry, while comforting and calming the other child, describing what happened, and suggest ways to resolve the conflict and model turn taking. So we had this incident this morning. A child decided he wanted the dinosaur because someone else had been playing with it for more than 5 minutes. And actually, what Jenny did was explain to that child that no, we're waiting. You can have this one. However, until this time is finished, that's not going to be yours to play with. So the adult has acknowledged the children's feelings and provided suggestions for resolving the conflict. If the adult holds the toy, the children are more likely to focus on the adult during the conversation. Suggestions may include putting the toy in the middle and both children playing with it together. If appropriate, use an egg timer to support them to take turns. If the adult remains with the children or returns to check in with them, they are more likely to engage with the resolution. Encouraging children to say sorry without addressing the underlying behaviour or checking if they understand why their behaviour is considered unacceptable can lead to superficial compliance rather than real behaviour change. So you see it a lot. A child will do something and then automatically say, "Oh, sorry," and then carry on. But that's
Oh,
actually
yes.
because, yeah, you're familiar with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's why it's important for us to have that conversation with them. And I know it takes time and we're all busy, but that learning and development stage also supports their social and emotional development and enables them to regulate themselves. So having that conversation, explaining what went wrong, and then making sure the child understands that before they say sorry will teach them how to not only resolve conflict, but to understand the behaviour support that they're being given. Simply saying the word sorry will not foster empathy, which helps us to understand and respond positively to feelings of others. Forced apologies can teach children that the feelings of the other person are more important than their own and can lead to feelings of shame and resentment, which actually inhibits the development of empathy. If we teach children that apologies are given when someone in power makes them do it, or it's simply what is expected, then we turn apologies into a negative action. In addition, because disagreements or conflicts cause deep emotional responses, in that moment, our brains are incapable of logical and reasonable thoughts. To acknowledge what happened or to consider a solution requires higher thought, and we need time to cool down and reflect on our own actions. Children's responses are the same. So let's look at some positive steps we can take to help children express themselves, understand the impact of their behaviour, and resolve moments of emotional dysregulation. Lovely. Thank you, Avisa. So, no one solution is going to be successful for every child and every time. It could work today, it might not work tomorrow. So it's definitely a good idea to have all those little toolboxes in your backpack, all the different strategies that you can use so that you can manage the situation more effectively. So the first consideration would be the age of the child or the stage of their development, because that will then inform you of what the expectations are and the most effective support for regulating their behavior. So the first thing you want to do is regulate yourself. Take a deep breath, breathe. As adults and professionals, we should avoid getting into conflicts with children, so stop and take a breath before getting involved. And it's also important to notice here that actually, if in that moment you are not the best person to support the conflict, to turn to your colleagues, just pop your head up and say, "Sorry, Leon, would you mind?" Because, and that's perfectly, in fact, that's probably a very smart thing to do. But regulate yourself first, then you validate the children's feelings. Resist minimizing or dismissing their emotions, such as by saying, "Stop crying," or "Oh, it's nothing, you're okay," and so on. Telling a child that you understand and accept their feelings is powerful. You could offer a hug to convey acceptance of their strong feelings. Acceptance, remember, is not the same as agreement. And you give your undivided attention and reflect back to the child what you understand. For example, are you telling me that you're feeling frustrated because you can't find your toy? Or, I know that you're feeling sad and being asked to leave this about being asked to leave the sandpit now, but it's time to eat lunch. And I think this is something that I often do, especially, for example, with the babies. Just and people look at me like I'm a little bit crazy, which we obviously know I am. But that importance of saying to them, "I understand how you're feeling, and it's okay for you to feel that way. However, this is what we need to focus on now." It just makes them feel validated. And I think validation, I think we could all agree, even as adults, is key. So, role model. Show children how to resolve conflict. For example, I lost my favourite car and I feel sad. It's okay to feel sad when we lose something we like, but today I'm going to look for a new car. Talk about your feelings, your problems, and solutions. And I hear this quite a lot, especially in the toddler room at Happy. I hear this quite a lot um, throughout the general practice. Like Debbie, for example, is very good at saying, "Oh, I can't do this thing by myself. I would really like some support." And then the children will then model that in turn when they're struggling with something. So, positive attention. Give your attention to the behaviors you desire. Be sincere, enthusiastic, and genuine, and be specific so the child understands which specific behavior you've identified as positive. For example, children are sitting on the carpet. We've spoken about this before. Oh, well done, Zoe. I love how smartly you're sitting. Oh, look at Wendy. Let's give Wendy a clap because Wendy's sitting beautifully on the carpet, because our focus is not going to be on the negative. We're turning that behavior around. We're leading with the positive. Reflection is important. So revisit a moment when a child was emotionally dysregulated once they are no longer emotional about the event. So once they're over it, then go back to that child. Engage the child in reflecting on what's happened, why it happened, and how they may do things differently in the future. So you could literally say, it might be something like, "Oh, I can see you're feeling much happier now." Or, "What was making you sad before? How come? Okay, what should we do next time?" And, you know, I've had these are conversations that I might have with a 2-year-old. And again, where whilst initially they may not be able to respond in the way that you would expect, eventually, as you keep on building those stepping stones for them over time, they will develop that skill themselves. Alternatively, you can reflect on a time when a situation was resolved amicably and talk about what they did do well and what they could do in the future. "Oh, Olivia, wow, that was amazing. I really loved how you..." And then next time that happens, make sure. Develop empathy. Ask children to imagine what another person is feeling as a result of their actions. Empathy is a learned response, and although they don't generally show empathy until around 4 years old, you can be introducing the concept by sharing your empathetic responses with children. For example, "I know you're sad because your friend isn't here today. I feel sad when I can't be with my friends too." Again, this video I will share in the chat. So, offer choices. This technique is great for diffusing situations quickly and can be used in a range of situations. For example, if a child refuses to hold anyone's hand when walking out, offer the choice of holding your hand or that of another adult. Be firm and concise when offering choices and repeat the choices without adding any further dialogue so they can focus on the choice to make their decision. So don't chop and change those choices. Keep it simple to 2 choices. We can do this or we can do this. You decide. Make sure that you're equally satisfied with either outcome, though. There's no point in saying, "Okay, we need to be safe walking down the street. Would you like to hold my hand or would you like to hold the hand of the 2-year-old that's running up and down and standing behind you?" Make sure that when you're giving those options, that the options are sensible and appropriate. So imagine this scenario. Georgie refuses to sit down for story time. Insisting they come can lead to a standoff of negative behaviours. So use the choice technique. Explain to Georgie that it's story time and ask if they wish to sit on the floor cushions or sit on a chair. Ask, which one are you going to choose, the cushion or the chair? So reinforce what we're focusing on. This way, Georgie is deciding where they will sit rather than refusing. When offering choices, only offer 2 so that you do not overload the child and offer immediate praise once the choice is made. If the child offers a preferred alternative, such as next to a friend, and there's no good reason to refuse a request, accept it and praise the child for making a decision. Because again, remember, what we wanted to see was this child sitting on the carpet without having an adult and child conflict. The desired behaviour was to join the group for story time, so don't make an issue out of the child not accepting your choices. If, however, the child chooses an unacceptable option, such as the example of holding hands above, simply repeat the choices you have given again until the child makes an acceptable decision. By using these strategies, children are more likely to feel seen, heard, respected, and calmed. They'll learn words for emotions as well as respectful ways to respond to other people's emotions. And they'll be able to learn how to engage in cooperating problem solving to find their own resolutions to tricky situations. It's a lot for these little children. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, number 5, observation techniques. Every child is a unique individual. Observing children gives us valuable information to support our understanding of individual children's skills, knowledge, and development, including their behaviour. Can you please just take a moment to jot down in the comments some reasons that some ways that observations help you in your everyday practice? I'll give you 1 minute to do that. Apparently I can't spell today. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you, my loves. So think about ways in which you observe and record behaviour. Sorry, I didn't even discuss that. So yeah, we're looking at monitoring progress, helps us to understand the developmental stage and what we need to do to support them. It's a good tracker, it gives us a baseline assessment, helps us to plan focus activities and also the next steps. Lovely. So think about ways in which, can't see my screen. Is it blurry, Melissa?
Very, very, very. I can't even make it out.
I don't know why.
I'm watching. I'm listening and looking, but I'm just like, yeah, I'll take it in when I'm reading and listening at the same time. So I'm just like, right.
Don't worry, I'll share. I will share these
I'll watch the
slides with you afterwards. Don't worry.
No problem. It's fine. It's fine.
Thank you, darling. So think about ways in which you observe and record behaviour in the setting. How does it help us to plan for supporting the children, and consider whether these strategies are used in the setting. So do we observe at different times of the day? Do we identify if there are any trends? For example, we've got a new baby who we spoke about today, and in the morning, all morning, this baby will cry. As soon as they've had that sleep, they're back to being much more regulated. So the child is obviously overtired, and that pattern has been noticed. So then we can put in the support in place to make sure that actually this child gets a little bit of an early sleep so that he's able to meet his development milestones. Observe the indoor and outdoor environments and where the child chooses to play. So check whether any provision, organisation or access needs to be reviewed. So if you've got a child that you know thrives in the garden, are we giving that child access to that space? Observations provide skilled practitioners with vital information and insight into a child, particularly when a child's behaviour is regularly challenging or out of character. We've discussed behaviour being an emotional response to children's thoughts and feelings, and by observing their behaviour closely, we can gain a better understanding of the underlying cause. This in turn provides us with the information we need to support the child to manage the dysregulation and provide strategies to help them cope with their emotional state. So I'm sure you've all heard of the ABC behaviour chart.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's often used as a tool to support practitioners to identify the root cause of behaviour which is challenging, especially when it is not immediately clear why the child is behaving this way. It's also valuable to use the chart when children are demonstrating positive behaviours to gain an understanding of how they usually respond to situations, people, or events. ABC, and I don't think a lot of people realise what ABC stands for, but it's antecedent, behaviour, and conclusions. So the antecedent means what happened before the behaviour was displayed. For example, were they asked to do something specific? Were they trying to play with a toy that another child had? Or were they trying to join in with play? Behaviour is the observable behaviour, whether it's positive or negative, that followed the event or the circumstances that occurred. So the antecedent is what happened before, as the behaviour started. What was the behaviour that you observed? And then the conclusions would be the practitioner reflecting on the antecedent and the behaviour, reflecting their knowledge of the child's stage of development and planning how to support the child. So, for example, it might be improving the outcome for the child, making changes to the environment, identifying staff training that's needed, so that we prevent that behaviour from happening again in the first place. If you are creating written observations, you will also need to consider what to document and how to keep a relevant record without making this an onerous and time-consuming task. What is necessary documentation to be useful? What is necessary for documentation to be useful? So you want the documentation to be consistent. So use a template such as the behaviour chart that we currently use within the settings. Everybody uses the same one at the moment, because then everyone has the same understanding of the form. So use a template, ensure all staff are observing and recording consistently, making it easier to compare over time and giving a fuller picture, because my perspective to how an incident played out could differ slightly from your perspective, or you may have seen something different that I haven't. So making sure that everybody takes control over completing the ABC charts, not just the person who is, for example, their key worker. So make sure that the observations are dated with the time. It might give some insight around the triggers. So behaviour on a Monday might be significantly different to a Thursday, for example. It might be that you need a conversation with the parents. Are they getting enough rest at the weekend? Or are their basic needs not being met? For example, are they hungry? Are they thirsty? Are they tired? Confidentiality and privacy. So making sure you're following the policies and procedures and that records are kept securely and respect the privacy and confidentiality of their child and their family, such as when discussing biting incidents with the victim's family. I wouldn't expect to see an ABC chart that's got all of this behaviour about a specific child up on the wall in clear view. I would expect that to be in a wallet so that we can support their privacy. Share observations with parents, carers, key people to keep them informed and give them the opportunity to help you find solutions. So I know quite often we will make observations and make notes and then not send them out to the parents, but that is for our own understanding. Once you then have that understanding, I would expect you to be sharing the information with their parents and carers. Check your messages. Review. Observations and records are reviewed with staff and parents to track progress and behaviour and identify trends and make appropriate plans based on conclusions. By observing and documenting behaviour, practitioners gain valuable insight into a child's development needs, interests, so can provide suitable support and encourage positive behaviour. If after addressing the root causes, working together with parents and applying different strategies, the behaviour that challenges persist, you may, with parental consent, need to seek help from other professionals. So after you've had all of those conversations with Maz, with the Senko in your setting, and they've spoken to Maz, it might be then time to look at how you can get support within the local authority to help support the child's development. Possible signs that you need to seek further help include behaviour preventing the child from learning, the child's social development being affected. So if they're not able to play alongside other children, if they're experiencing poor self-confidence and self-esteem, if the behaviour is causing conflict, impacting on the development and emotional well-being of others, and if the behaviour is putting the child or other children at risk of harm. The final point above can be a source of great distress to the adults and children affected by a child demonstrating such behaviour. When a child appears to be in danger, whether from own actions or those of someone else, we need to protect the children involved. Physical intervention. So any method of physically intervening to resolve difficult and a dangerous situation can be a difficult strategy to implement effectively, especially in the emotional heat of the moment. However, physical intervention doesn't necessarily mean physical restraint. One definition of physical intervention is where practitioners use reasonable force to prevent children from injuring themselves or damaging property. Supporting a child in distress to move to a safe place to let their feelings out and removing other children to another area. So if you've got a child who's on the carpet and they're kicking and screaming, and you need to move that child to be able to keep everybody else safe, but also to provide them with a space to express their emotions, but safely, then do so with reasonable force. If regular physical intervention is required to support a child, it is essential that practitioners speak to the family, health partners, and medical practitioners to provide specialist support for the child. Remember that behaviour is a form of communication, and if a child is regularly communicating in this way, then it is essential that their needs are understood in order to start to provide the appropriate support. Practitioners will need to work closely with the setting senior staff, so that's your Senkos, your room leaders, your managers, your deputies, to ensure the procedures for supporting additional needs and any safeguarding implications are recognised. In addition, ensure that the child's rights and their well-being are positively promoted throughout the setting. Self-care and stress management. So this is where it gets tricky, because we're now going to be talking about you. Resources have to be allocated for the time and facilitation for staff to think about and process the individual feelings evoked by their emotional work with children. Working in a busy childcare environment can be challenging, stressful, and certainly emotional. Therefore, to ensure quality of care, be a positive role model, emotionally available and stable, your own mental health and stress management is crucial. Again, one of the reasons that we're very lucky to have Bupa. Reflection. How do you currently manage your self-care and stress? Here are some strategies that you might find useful. So approach your supervisors, approach your colleagues, your room leaders, your mentors for guidance and emotional support. Share your experiences with somebody in a safe way. For example, if you're feeling that you need support and it's a conversation that you need to have, I wouldn't expect you to have that in the open, out in front of a busy 2-year-old room where children are busy and need your time. So if you need to arrange a one-to-one with somebody, speak to that person. If you need to speak to that person imminently, then let them know that so you can find a safe space and cover each other in the rooms. Set clear boundaries between work and home. Avoid taking work-related stress home with you, and make time for relaxation. What's that then? And even fun, guys. You're allowed to have fun outside of the hours of 6 p.m. and 7:30 a.m.
No.
Just a little bit. Don't push your luck, because then you'll get overtired and then it'll be a whole problem. Be aware of your triggers and develop strategies to manage them. I think this is a really big one. Being able to reflect on yourself as an individual and say that, listen, I know that this triggers me. I know that I find this frustrating. Think about pre-plan some strategies that you can put in place, whether that's, okay, before this thing happens, I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'm going to take 5 deep breaths. I'm going to count over my fingers. Develop your own strategies to manage that behavior. Plan a daily schedule, allowing for some flexibility. Have breaks to enable you to recharge, and even a few minutes at a time, even a few minutes of time to yourself can help reduce stress. Increase your skills and improve your confidence and abilities by investing time in professional training and development. I'll read that again. Increase your skills and improve your confidence in your abilities by investing time in professional training and development. So if there's something that you know that you need support with, don't wait for your supervision to bring that up. If there's some level of training that you would like to take part in, source the training. You know, if that training impacts your role, then have a conversation with your senior staff about how you can be supported throughout that training. But professional development is key. Without that professional development, none of you would even have your level 3, but also actually the outcomes for our children wouldn't be as fantastic as they are and as they can be. So stress reduction, find a technique or activity that helps reduce stress. And I don't mean going outside the vape because unfortunately that's not always possible. So you need to find a technique that you can use in that moment that will help you to support yourself. But again, also find those techniques outside of work that help you to feel more relaxed and have those moments to recharge. Reach out to other people through support groups or forums. I know Facebook is a great place for that, but you could also speak to your colleagues within your groups. As I say on flights, fit your own oxygen mask before helping your child. This means that you have to look after yourself before you have the capacity to help anyone else. Be kind to yourself and look after your own well-being so you are ready to support children to cope with their emotional states. The end. Does anybody have any questions? If you do have a question, please just take your mic off and jump in. And we'll move on to the self-assessment. So if I can ask you to all take your mics off for this part, please. Which of the following statements define the significance of boundaries and expectations for children in the setting?
Over here.
So is it that they're primarily... Sorry, don't take your mic off if you're loud, though. Thanks. Which of the following statements define the significance of boundaries and expectations for children in a childcare setting? So is it that they're primarily out about control and discipline and not about their development? Is it that they restrict children's freedom and creativity? Is it that they create a sense of structure, safety, and predictability? 1, 2, or 3? Actually, to be fair, 3, thank you. You could also put it, that's all right. You could also put it in the chat if you prefer. What is at the root of behavior that challenges us? Is it fear? 1. 2, an attempt to control an adult. 3, poor manners. 4, stress. Tick all that apply.
One and 4.
Agreement? Lovely, thank you very much. Yeah. In the moment of an emotional overwhelm, practitioners should we give the child a hug?
Yeah.
Should we attune to the child so we understand them?
Yeah.
Should we argue with them?
No.
Do we ignore them?
No.
No.
Do we offer choices?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we validate their feelings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely. So we're going to fill in the missing words. I know we struggle with this one sometimes, but the options are behavior, observation, positively, and challenges. So, is a useful tool to gain insight into a child's and discover triggers for behavior that us. Observation tools should also be used when children are functioning. So, number 1, behavior is a useful tool, observation is a useful tool, positively is a useful tool, challenges is a useful tool.
Observation.
Observation by the sound of it.
Observations.
Observation is a useful tool to gain insight into a child's
Behavior.
random capital
Oh,
letter.
actually, hang on.
Hang on, we'll start with this one and then we'll go through. So observation is a useful tool to gain insight into a child's behavior and discover triggers for behavior that challenges us.
Yeah.
Observation tools should also be used when children are functioning positively. Okay. Now, would you say behavior is a useful tool to gain insight? You wouldn't, would you?
No.
No, let's go with that one then. Partly correct. Oh, I spelled positively wrong. Sorry. But we were correct. Observation is a useful tool to gain insight into a child's behavior and discover triggers for behavior that challenges us. That should be challenges that challenge us. Observation tools should also be used when children are functioning positively. Which of the following will support self-care and stress management? Taking stress home with you.
No.
No.
Ignoring your feelings.
No.
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 Asking for support from supervisors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finding a stress relieving activity like walking or yoga.
Yeah.
If you've got time for that.
I thought the same thing, but you know.
That gains my stress, that does.
Right. So this module has required that you consider the behavior that challenges you, emphasizing the underlying cause and supportive responses. It explores the developmental process through which children learn to self-regulate their emotions. Techniques such as active listening were discussed and how it contributes to a positive, respectful environment. Additionally, observation, documentation, and record keeping were highlighted as a useful way to plan meaningful activities as well as to understand and track behaviour. Additionally, it states the need for practitioners to be self-aware about their own responses to the emotional challenges of working with children and the importance of stress management strategies. We've now reached the end. Time to get ready for bed. So, we have 16 questions. You can either put it in the chat or take your mic off and answer. Oh, Wendy's here. Hello, Wendy. Wendy's home. So question 1, training increases confidence and competence in dealing with behavior that challenges us. True or false?
True.
True.
Thank you. What do child development theories do? So are they outdated and irrelevant in today's society? Do they offer a foundation for us to create effective strategies to promote positive behaviour? Or do they provide valuable frameworks for understanding how children grow and change, including their behaviour? So 1, an outdated and irrelevant in today's society. 2, offer a foundation for us to create effective strategies. And 3, provide valuable frameworks. So select all that apply. 1, 2, 3. 1 or 2, 2 and 3.
I would say 2 and
I
2
think
and
so, 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Lovely. Anyone disagree?
Yeah.
No disagreements. Lovely. Bandura's social learning theory does it incorporate cognitive processes, importance of modeling and observation, or the need to be consistent? That's a tough one because that was in the first module. But
Importance of modelling and observation.
importance of modeling and observation. Anything else?
Okay. Cognitive processes.
Cognitive processes, so how the brain thinks. Happy with modeling and observation?
Okay.
Would you like to talk about cognitive processes?
Yes, please.
Okay. So it's not just behavior, but also how the brain thinks as well. So attachment is key to creating a positive relationship resources layout. Attachment is key to creating a positive emotional climate. The environment is as much about the layout and the warmth experience there as the hang on a minute, this don't make sense, as the and the oh, attachment is key to creating a positive emotional climate. The environment is as much about the layout and the warmth experience there as much as the resources and the relationships. Happy with that? Would anyone like to change anything around? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay, we'll move on. So another fill in the blanks. Children learn by observing and imitating. Self-awareness, positive behavior, emotional. Children learn, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Children learn by observing and imitating the people around them. As practitioners, we have to develop a deep level of self-awareness and acknowledge our, thank you, Sarah, and acknowledge our responsibility to act as positive role models, to set to set standards, behavior and communication which foster emotional and social development. Lovely job. It's important not to interfere, question 6, it's important not to interfere with how parents manage their own children's behavior at home. True or false?
False.
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 That was like false, is it? We're going with false, no problem. What is at the heart of positive relationships? Is it being friends on social media channels, writing good notes, or communicating effectively? 1, 2, or 3?
Communicating effectively.
Communicating effectively.
How is body language an important part of communication and building relationships? 1, it helps maintain an organized environment. 2, it enables us to express emotions. 3, it enhances what we say and helps build trust.
Express emotions.
Third
Express
one, it
emotions.
enhance what we say.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 2, but I'm overthinking it.
We can only select one, but think about what it is we're doing. How is body language an important part of communication and building relationships?
Okay, so maybe it is build trust.
Yes, third one.
Yeah, because we use that body language to support our vocal language.
Words.
Yeah, thank you. I'm nearly out of words today. Number 9, why is it important to establish clear expectations and boundaries? 1, they are necessary and can hinder children's development. 2, they limit children's creativity. 3, they help provide a safe and secure environment.
Third one.
Who is that?
Yeah, 3.
Who is it?
Sahar.
Oh, hello, Sahar. Are you feeling a bit? Oh, you were outside, isn't it? Yeah. Number 10, a stressful environment that is overstimulating and does not meet babies' needs will result in them 1, being extra hungry, 2, sleeping for long periods, 3, becoming cranky and disengaged.
3.
3.
Thank you. A positive learning environment, 1, lacks diversity and tolerance. 2, is respectful, inclusive, and caring for everyone. 3, contains lots of expensive resources.
Second one.
2.
Thank you.
Second one.
The second one.
Which of the following are ways of demonstrating respect? So, do we demonstrate respect by creating an environment that's not conducive to home language use?
No.
Do we create respect by doing everything by yourself without involving others in decisions?
No,
No.
no,
By
No.
by being too busy to speak with parents and carers.
no,
No.
no.
Listen, there's one parent, happy staff, you know who I mean.
We know.
By creating a
45
safe.
minutes. Yes.
Now,
Yes.
sorry, I just have to come back to that because on Monday, the babies and toddlers went to the library, and I've got one parent who loves to talk to me and doesn't seem to understand that I come to work to do things. She thinks I come to work to chat with her. The children left to go to the library, and she just called as they left, and I was still on the phone when they came back. So building
I
those
think we've all
relationships.
got those parents, definitely.
We've got those parents, right? But that's again why we need to put in those boundaries as well, isn't it? So we can build those relationships, but actually we need some boundaries there too. So
Like,
do we
meet some of Wotton's parents.
I'm all right, thanks. I got enough to deal with. You can tell me all about it next time. Do we demonstrate respect by creating a safe environment,
Yes.
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 by
Yes.
working as a team,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
by actively
Yeah.
listening,
Yes.
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 by showing value
Yes.
and respect of diversity?
Yes.
You don't want to go home,
Yes.
innit?
Yeah.
By treating everyone the same.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but no.
Yes, but no, exactly.
Yes,
By
but
treating
no, I
everyone
agree.
the same as
Yes. Model
individuals.
As an
positive.
individual.
Yep, and being consistent and
Yes.
fair.
Yes.
Yes.
Behaviours that we find challenging are simply part of a child's development, and as such, is just behaviour annoying,
Yes.
time consuming, or annoying.
No, behavior.
Okay. What about time consuming? I mean, it is time consuming, but that's not what our focus is it? It's not, oh, they're just time
Exactly.
consuming, they're just annoying. That's just how they are. Which of the
It is.
following, go on.
Sorry. No, I don't want to interrupt now.
Okay. Which of the following are characteristics of active listening? Active listening, is that shown by showing open body language,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
respectful silence,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
continuing
Yes.
with your activity,
No.
asking lots of questions?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
For
Interrupting?
taking an interest. No.
That's right.
No.
In
April, was that
somehow.
you that said that?
Yeah, it's me.
Hi. Sorry, I can't see your faces, so I just have to guess based on your voices. Interrupting.
No. No.
No.
Use of clarifying questions.
Yes.
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 Repeating or paraphrasing.
No.
No.
Being fully present and engaged.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Lovely. An ABC chart focuses on 3 key aspects of the child and the situation. So we're going to match the words to their explanations. So any action or response by the child is called is it a conclusion?
Action.
Behavior.
It's the behavior. So the event of circumstances that occurs immediately before the behavior we call the
Antecedent.
perfect. And identifying what follows the behavior and what actions need to be taken is the
Conclusion.
It's our conclusion. Yeah.
lovely. Why is it important to be aware of our own stress levels? 1, so that we can be proactive and do something to reduce them.
Yeah.
2, so that we can ask for support.
Yeah.
Yes.
And 3, because it impacts on our responses to the situations that challenge us.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
100%. I know I say it every time, I can't help myself, but my heart is actually beating. I need to study that. Well done, guys. So number 3,
Yay.
that says our answer's incorrect, but we ticked both of those things.
Yeah, because
We
it
want the
literally,
third one.
they wanted just one answer.
No, it's select all correct answers. So
Yeah, the
copy
third
and
one should be
process.
also included.
So what are they
No.
saying, that it needs to be consistent as well then?
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, you did say that. Okay, so the environment is as much about the relationships and the warmth experience there as the resource, as the layout. That makes sense. And the
Yeah.
resources. Yeah, that does make sense. So they've just highlighted this here, and it says it's essential to work closely with parents on behaviour strategies to give consistent messages to children. Building up good relationships with parents based on mutual respect supports parent partnership and effective behaviour management. So that is a reason that it is important to have those discussions with parents when we're talking about children's behaviour. Okay, so number 14, apparently asking lots of questions is not a good characteristic of active learning, because I imagine if you're asking lots of questions, then that person might feel bombarded and like you're not actually listening to what they have to say. You have now completed your Promoting Positive Behaviour course. I'm very proud of you. Does anyone have any questions?
Woohoo!
Anyone have any questions?
No, thank
Do I get a
you.
certificate for this,
Who was that?
Wendy?
You don't get a certificate. I might give everyone else one.
I thought I get one too. Amazing.
Have you been to all the sessions, Wendy?
I have listened back.
Wendy's listened to
I've
all the
actually
And I've
sessions,
been
so
been
you,
to
told
sessions.
to.
I'll let you off. You will get certificates. What I am going to do is, when I find some time over the next few weeks, I will be putting all of the training that everyone has completed onto Atlas, so that it shows that you've completed this training, and I will provide you all with certificates for. No, I'm not going to provide you with them. I'm going to provide your managers with the certificates, who is then going to distribute them accordingly. Any questions before we go? No. Just
No,
so
but thank you.
you're welcome, darling. Just so you're all aware, I am in the middle of completing a diversity training not PDF, PowerPoint. When that is complete, it should be completed by the end of next week. When I've completed that, your managers will be sharing it in the WhatsApp groups. I will then be putting it onto family, and once you have watched it and have answered some questions about it, you will be able to acknowledge it on family as having completed it. Does that make sense? Because I feel like it didn't. I'm going to take your silence as a yes.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. That's okay. And next month, Maz is going to be delivering for you. Well, myself and Maz will deliver some SEND training for you. It will be over 2 sessions. I imagine each session to be an hour and a half. If there are any specific dates, because this is a really important one, and I would really like to see all staff from every nursery on this training. So if there are any specific dates in November that you are going to find extremely tricky, please put a message in this chat so that I can see those dates, and I will do my best to avoid those dates. If I don't see any of those messages, the expectation is that all staff are coming to training. There are, obviously, is CPD. This training is to support you in being able to do your role well. This isn't because Mel's bored at 6:15 on a Thursday, so she thought, why not? But this is here to support you on your role. Your managers, for the most part, are taking part. If your managers are not able to come to the actual sessions, they are still taking time out of their day to go back and watch it. That is the expectation for everybody. So please encourage your team, because when you all do the training, it means you're all able to support one another. Clear?
Yeah, Mel, just to let you know, I've actually been promoting these positive behavior courses. However, a lot of the team are asking and have been asking, where do we find these videos, because they can't access them.
Your manager can access them.
Okay.
So ask your setting managers to download the videos and share them in your WhatsApp groups, please. And the managers
Okay.
who are on this call will also do the same, and I'll pop them a reminder tomorrow. And tomorrow I'm expecting to receive from your managers the first piece of homework from last week and the piece of homework that I gave you on Monday. So I look forward to receiving those. If you don't have any more questions, feel free to leave. Enjoy what's left of your evening. It's Friday tomorrow. You can do the Friday dance and have a lovely weekend if I don't speak to you before then. Bye.
Thank you,
everyone.
Miss.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye, Saha.
Thanks, Mel.
You're welcome, darling. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Daniela, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
Well deserved. Well done.
Thank you.
Welcome.